day 3 of the new job. I am fucking loving it. And like, it's weird to have a company that just instinctively has your back. You know what I mean? Like, my last job, our town halls consisted of everybody shitting on my department. My department would fight each other constantly and steal each other's work and like write their names over it. And they don't do that here. It's odd. It's very odd. Right. So I hope this turns out all right. Actually, let me.
But that's not all. There's a little bit more to this guy. So the second phase of the fight, same things apply. You can still use the flame vent, but it doesn't get nearly the same effect, just to show that. And also, before the second phase starts, I would highly suggest you put on a model purple. Nice and oily. Who's going to do this thing? Anytime you see him move his head back towards his neck, just haul ass away. The best thing to do is just hold back, hit down at once, and then just keep pressing it so you go into a straight spin. He has a sweep. You see, he's kind of chaotic with his movements, which is what makes this a little tricky. Jump over that. And honestly, the best piece of advice I can give here is going to be to, this is more of a reflect challenge compared to the first phase. It's easy to get some damage in. If you get a couple of flex here, you can throw them down with that big deflect. Then you can just get some damage in. Let's see how effective that is. Alternatively, of course, you can also use the, be able to use those trees to rope out as well. Anytime he backs up like that, great opportunity to try
That I will do. So I was looking over trying to find like a crafting thing to do and stuff like that. And I had also just kind of started my new job. Everything's pretty good so far. Like, I'm fairly happy with the company. Well, not fairly. I'm really happy with the company and how they appear and how everything is progressing and going. Turns out I will be fully remote for the entire month of July, which is a pleasant surprise. Bay's in the background. Let me see if I can. And there's Elsa, finally out of bed. So, but the point being of me bringing up the job was you always had those icebreakers and you always had those interests and things that you have to do, you know, like give 2 truths and a lie, or tell me, you know, your favorite things to do and stuff like that. And I kind of got to thinking about it. Like, I will put on there that I like to wakeboard. I haven't wakeboarded since I was 22. So like 13 years, somewhere in there. It seems a bit of a stretch to put in there that I like to wakeboard when I haven't done it in over a decade, right? But that kind of got me thinking about it. And that got me thinking about my last relapse I had back in January. It was really bad and it was terrible. And I always attributed it to doing too much and stretching myself too thin. And for some reason, I always looked at it still as like stretching myself too thin with like work. But that's simply not the case. There's so many things that like I'm missing out on that I can't do because of other hobby obligations and stuff. It's a big thing on why 90 and 90 never works for me. 90 and 90 always gets me like 37 and drunk, somewhere in there. Very rarely will 90 and 90 even get me to the 80s. I think it's only happened once. So I have to have this like pace on things. And that goes the same with, fun obligations that I have for myself. Like I like to disc golf. The last time I disc golfed, it's coming up on a year. Like last time I disc golfed was, I believe, September of 2023. And we are in June of 2024. And I'm still lugging around a backpack full of discs just in case I get to go. But there isn't any that is readily available around me unless I want to go to the other side of town, which, depending on the time of day, fucking sucks. And then, after I spend 20 to 30 minutes getting there, you better hope that it's like not busy. Otherwise, I'm not doing it because I suck at it. So it's probably going to be a back burner. I like to play with the RC things. And, my RC car. I love driving that thing around. I love flying the drone. I like doing all that stuff. But I don't do it enough to be good at it. I just do it intermittently. So, maybe that needs to have a back burner. Point being on it is I feel like month 20 is going to be putting some things into storage that I don't have time for, and free up some time for my relationships, my other obligations that I have. I'm still, even though I've got this job, I still have to like DoorDash or Uber Eats to make enough money until I get paid. And even then, I still have to do it for a few more weeks, like consistently, to net neutral and keep my head above water. So I think that's what month 20 is going to be all about. I realized when month 19 came out, it was in the middle of month 20. So we'll probably keep that consistency going. Give me some lead time, not stress myself out. But anywho, how's everything else going? Arguably all right, arguably all right. I've got enough gameplay content of Breath of the Wild and Sekiro that I can, put that out or whatever if anybody wants to watch it. I don't really care. It's something that holds me accountable to make me do it. And that's the part that matters, is because when things get frustrated and I don't have a reason behind it other than like, let's try it out, I typically let it fall off on the wayside, but I still count it as something that I do. So we're gonna work on that. I'm still going to be crafting, but I've hit kind of this like impasse, like I'm not really sure how to like say it or go about it or, but like I've got these structures, but I don't know what I want to do with it or how I want to do it. So that's going to take some tinkering on my part, and one that I hope and get into sooner rather than later. But if not, we're just going to kind of keep playing Sekiro and Breath of the Wild and Pokemon, and vlog intermittently while I'm doing Uber Eats and while I'm at work and stuff like that, just to kind of keep myself occupied on things. And, you know, funnily enough, this is actually more helpful for me than you guys probably get out of it. Like, sharing what it's like and what it's like for me to go through sobriety, no matter what kind of length of time. Early sobriety, I would argue I'm in long-term sobriety. AAers would say that, you know, I barely have 4 months. Who knows what anybody else would say? But that's another thing that got me thinking. If it's a self-diagnosed disease, why do I depend on outside people to tell me when it's in remission? And I use it by their standards and what works for them, but it doesn't always work for me because it worked for them. So anyways, that's my thoughts for the day. Bye. So I'm out Uber eating, and I thought it would be the perfect opportunity. Ooh, he's getting it. Okay, now we're done. They've meandered off. I think they were dancing. Anywho, so my first week, surprisingly well, and I can tell that the company actually cares about their employees, which is a huge change of pace. Day one, I have insurance, so I don't have to worry about that. There's so many little minor things that have been going into it. I'm still working on what to trim and do all that and everything, but we're sorting it out and kind of boxing up stuff that I'm probably not going to be using. So. Good morning. Good morning. So it is, gosh, kind of almost the start of month 21, which is kind of wild to me. Just to get things kind of underway and give you kind of the big life updates and stuff. One, I am still at my job. I actually like it. It helps that I went in there, not, you know, to be overzealous or like I should be this job or whatever, you know, like I'm just going in with an empty cup, and the job has been pretty good. Pretty good. The company definitely cares about their employees. I'm pretty sure there's mold in my apartment because every time I stay there, I get sick. Like tons and tons and tons and tons of mucus. And it's to the point where like I am throwing up in the morning. It just makes me, but when I am here or at work or later on throughout the day, I am perfectly fine. So I'm going to be staying here for a little bit. Plus it's like what, Thursday? And I always stay with my partner from like Thursday until Monday anyway, so works out, and I put in a request to have it checked out. But outside of that, that's kind of really all that's been going on. Bye. Hello. So it is the end of my 2-week training period. It's also the summer solstice, so I am basking in the midnight sun, so to speak. And today has all been about learning how to stop instant gratification, and how like I get stuck in that loop with fast food, with just everything, and how it, you know, I got to do it fast. It's got to get done. 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 You know, just get it out. Just get it out of the way. And it feels a lot like, I'm gonna lay down. It feels a lot like how, you know, it was an addiction with things, and how I just wanted to get shit done so I could get fucked up. And that bothers me, that I still have that mindset. And it reinforces what I'm trying to do with this, like, delaying instant gratification and listing out big goals and then breaking them down into smaller goals so that I get a little bit of instant gratification, but not much. So I will try and be quick about things. I make no qualms about it. I do AA. I have tried Celebrate Recovery, and that was too much religion. You know, Smart, everybody that I've ran into in Smart's just like an asshole. AA seems to have the most normal amount of people. I am not a big book thumper. I don't go every day. Hell, if I do, I usually do a Zoom. It's just what I do and what works for me. But I was going in to work, and I felt the need to listen to a Zoom call, and I found a group that I enjoy listening to. And yesterday it was about pain, and today it was about fear and faith. And I did a little bit of a video on that, probably on the old channel, but essentially it boils down to definitions of words. You know, brave is instinctively reacting to something. You know, say for example, kid walks out in front of the bus and mom instantly runs out and grabs the kid and pulls it to safety. That is being brave because she didn't have time to think about the fact that, you know, a bus was going to hit this kid, right? Courageous would be going ahead and doing something even though you know it's more than likely going to cause you bodily harm. Battery died. So the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Wisdom, or courage to change the things I can. So knowing that it's going to be painful, we go ahead and change the things we can. And the wisdom to know the difference. That's a lot to unpack. It's a little bit surface level. Most people are just going to be like, yeah, no shit. But the wisdom to know the difference. Well, the wisdom to know that I can't change other people. The courage to change the things I can. A lot of that meant for me just accepting shitty behavior. And that is not the case. I can change who I keep around me. You know, family I have found, by and large, watch their actions. They'll stick around, no matter what, but you need to watch their actions. And some of them you have to just keep from a distance. But what I can change is future tripping. And what I mean by that is I go through a lot of anger building up and thinking about the future. Case in point, I can give you numerous examples where I would just sit there and tell you, well, she's obviously going to do this because of this, this, and this, right? And I'm talking about people that you have to interact with on it. Not so much family, work. You have to keep around people around work. You have to, if you don't want to be a hermit, learn to get along with your partner that you've chosen, or walk away. You have to do that. But the examples that I'm getting to is, like, I will fluster in my head, this person's obviously going to let me down because of X, Y, Z. This is what they always do, So I find myself going into the interaction already just pissed because I've been thinking about it like 3 weeks prior and still am, and I keep coming to the same logical conclusion. And everybody keeps saying, you can't make those assumptions. You got to go in with no expectations. And that was really hard for me. Like, how am I not to have expectations on anything? Like, go in and say and I was trying to figure that out. And I still catch myself doing it. But at this juncture in things, I can literally sit and say and look at things and being like, well, you have no idea how that is going to go on. That's 3, 4, 5 years from now. Like, look at what's happened in the past year. You've gone from working second shift at a hotel in a small town in rural Kentucky to running 2 half marathons. You've got a good job, an amazing partner. You own your own place, or you rent, and you bought a car all on your own. Look at how much that has changed in the past year. So I can't necessarily say things that would happen even 6 months out. Like, I really don't know. I have a large degree of thoughts, and as things get closer, I'll start to kind of form an opinion, and that's only natural. But I can't be holding on and reoccurring these thoughts through my head that obviously turn out to be wrong all the time. So, how do I change it? Well, for me, I sit out in the sun. It's probably like the best thing ever, is just laying out on the grass. I exercise. If none of those are working, I'll play some video games. I'll go for a walk. I'll do anything to stop that line of thinking and get me onto something else. Because once I've hopped the tracks and I'm thinking about something else, and it doesn't have to be going out and helping somebody, it can be self-care. You're helping yourself. So I'll hop onto that train of thinking and I'll get going on that. Now, I may hop back to that other track and I'll sit in it for a while, but eventually I'm going to hop to another track. And just changing the vibe seems to be the way that works for me. And if all else fails, I will just continually tell myself that that is not true. Like, even if I have to verbally say it, I will say, that's not true. You can't You can't use that because that's not true. And if anybody has seen me on Reddit, everybody knows I will instantly call something out that's not true. Myself, somebody else, until I see the paperwork, I don't know. I don't trust it. So, month 2 comes around. It's the holidays. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm still even Uber eating, and I cannot get ahead for whatever reason. Like, for whatever reason, at the end of the day, I am low on money. We go down, go on vacation. I meet her family. That doesn't go that well. We come back. I'm still working 2 jobs. And we transition into month 15. And almost on the anniversary for month 15, I relapse. And it was horrible. Horrible. Like, instantly I was in delusions. Instantly I was a crying, feeble mess. Thankfully, my partner dragged me to an AA meeting. I dried out and I started going again to AA meetings. I got a sponsor and I worked, in my mind, the steps. I sent out my amends and I tried to do my best and like wipe the slate clean. I was sober for 88 days. I knew it was coming because I always get a really bad depression about day 80 all the way up until about 90 days, which usually causes me to relapse. You know, I have this mentality of, you know, what's like, I'm playing a basketball game, right? Or a soccer game. And the score is like, they have 100 points and I have like 0. My team had 0. And it's halftime. You know, it's like, do we even really want to rally? Like, why don't you just save the energy? Like, clearly we're not going to win here. So do you want to, like, win going out like you tried? Or do you just want to not even bother showing up? So I knew that was coming. And I ended up relapsing. And it has been quite a struggle from April to May to now June, but really July, because on the 24th is when I start my sober date. Anyways, that was a bloodbath. So from April on, I was dealing with a lot of anger towards things. There was a lot of unfairness going along on it. I started month 18, or I finished month 18 with a half marathon. And I was like on top of the world. And then starting into month 19, I lost my job. And I don't know the exact reasons. They just called me and told me not to show up. And like, I hadn't been drinking, I hadn't been doing any of that stuff. So I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened there. But it is what it is. Month 20 consisted of mainly Ubereating and looking for a job. And at the end of month 20 and starting in month 21, I have started working that job. I am fully trained and things are looking to start to level out. So that was a lot of really, really turbulent shit. So I'm going to take a breather and just kind of live my life and then recap it at the end and just do it as like an episode type deal from October 24th, my sobriety date. Yes, more on that later. And we'll do it that way. All right?